right, everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm Brenner. This is Tommy. Today, we're going to be listing the books of the Bible from best to worst, objectively. You
Completely
can't disagree with
objectively.
this. Exactly, you can't disagree with this list. This is the way it is. So I'm sorry if you disagree with us, but you're wrong. So,
Yeah,
uh,
we're qualified.
exactly, yes,
Like,
we may not have terminal degrees, but we are terminally online. So that's going to guide our process here.
exactly.
So we're going to go through it canonically, kind of. I mean, we'll start with Genesis, I suppose. It's
Yeah.
kind of a good spot to start there. So, Tommy, you hate the Book of Genesis. Where do you think it should be placed?
That's a hate is a strong and incorrect word.
Okay, well, make your case. Where does it go?
Let's see. Genesis. I think it's pretty S tier.
It's hard to argue for Genesis out of S tier.
Yeah.
You could caveat that by saying, like, look, when people think of Genesis, most of the time, no, keep it an S, keep it an S. Most of the time, people think about, like, you've got creation in there. Creation's kind of a big deal because we exist, and if it weren't for that, we wouldn't. We've got Noah, we've got the Tower of Babel, not in that order. It's kind of like that first primeval history period that most people kind of are drawn to. So if we sectioned it out like the cool stories at the beginning and then the patriarch stories later on, might have some variance there, but I think it's kind of hard to argue for Genesis not being an S tier. What do you think?
Yeah, especially because a lot of the questions too that people like, questions like regarding the spiritual realm or like even just the weird stuff of the Bible,
The fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it goes back to the primeval history.
Yeah. And it kind of, it's even the yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, for the boys and girls back home, they always ask, "What the heck are the Nephilim?" To which we say, "I don't know. You don't know, and nobody knows."
Boy, it sure would be nice if somebody would make an episode explaining that.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I wish somebody had done that by now. They're aliens, Tommy. We all know that they were just aliens. Come on, that's
aliens.
I'm not saying it was aliens,
but I'm not saying that it wasn't not aliens.
Nephilim.
Fallen ones. Has anyone ever done a translation where they just, or instead of transliterating it, they just wrote fallen ones?
I don't know, because they show up in Joshua and elsewhere, and in those places it's kind of like in tribal lists. So I feel like it's kind of, for consistency's sake, you want to have them listed as Nephilim, as in like a people group. But off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure.
Hello, this is a quick note from the editor. You just heard Brenner say that Nephilim shows up in places like Joshua, and in clan names, clan lists. Well, that's not quite true, and so I wanted to offer a correction. Brenner might be thinking of other words. There's other words related to Nephilim called Rephaim. I won't get into that. We're just going to talk about Nephilim here real quick. So I'm here at parabible.com. Would highly recommend. It's a free resource. And the words highlighted in orange, that's the word Nephilim in Hebrew. So it shows up in once in Genesis 6:4, which is the immediate context we're talking about in the video. But then it also shows up twice, as you can see here, in Numbers 13:33. And this English translation here is the NET, the New English Translation. And they just use Nephilim, as you can see here. And then on this column, we have the translation of the Hebrew, the Greek Old Testament, commonly called the Septuagint. And actually, it's interesting, they translate Nephilim with the Greek word gigas. Here you see gigantes here, and then gigantas. They're just used in different places in the sentence, and so that's why. And this is also plural forms. So, the root word is gigas. And this means giant. So I won't get into all of the weeds here as to why exactly they did that, but in Second Temple Jewish thinking, and arguably starting kind of from around the time of the exile, they got that idea from Babylon, and so that these kind of heroes of renown, as you see here, they were mighty heroes of old, famous men. But actually, here you say giga or gigantes twice, so you see giant twice in Genesis 4 in the Septuagint. So yeah, so they have giants in mind, big old dudes in mind. Again, there's a lot to it, but to sum this up, Nephilim just 3 times in the whole Hebrew Bible. Typically transliterated, because it's kind of a mysterious term, but then the Greek translators of the Hebrew Bible use the term that means giant. So just wanted to offer a little correction. Enjoy the rest of this tier list. Looking up the JPS translation.
The best kind.
It's Genesis 1. We don't. JPS 1917.
Very up to date.
Very. Let's see. That would be Nephilim. That's what, Genesis 6?
Yeah, I think it is. Genesis 6, 1 through 4.
Yes. No, I'm not surprised that the 1917 version just says Nephilim.
I mean, it's something.
It is, yeah. Out of all the things, that is one of them.
That is one of the things, yes. So Genesis, squarely in S tier. And, even the patriarch stories, even though they're not as popular, I mean, like you still hear Joseph's story as a kid, stuff like that.
Everyone knows them.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's the start of the story. It picks up the problem laid out in the primeval history and moves on from there. So whether you like it or not, or whether you particularly enjoy it or not, you kind of need Genesis. So I think S tier is fairly well established.
Oh yeah. Okay, Exodus. Where would you put Exodus?
Well, I haven't read it, but I have seen The Prince of Egypt, and so because of that,
I saw the who was it? Christopher Nolan who made?
No, Christian Bale was the main guy. I know what you're talking about. I don't know who made that. I never watched it. I heard it was good. Exodus, Gods and Kings.
Yeah, the first one that popped up was the 1960 Paul Newman movie about the.
Oh yeah. Wait, that's a classic. It's not the best, but it's a classic.
Yeah, who did? God,
I don't know if it was a big name director who did it. I think it was just kind of like Christian Bale's in this.
Probably.
Good.
Wait, produced by Ridley Scott?
What? The same guy who made a movie about how Jesus was a space alien?
Dude.
Okay.
Yeah, from the director of Gladiator. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Wasn't that also Ridley Scott?
Yeah. Ridley Scott, what did he do?
Alien, I think.
Yeah, he did Alien. He did Blade Runner. He did some really good movies, and then he made Exodus, Gods and Kings.
I mean, hey, I'm sure it was quite a spectacle, but still not as good as The Prince of Egypt, and I will die on that hill.
Yeah, like I remember seeing like part of it on a TV movie, and I sat through maybe 5 minutes, then got up and left because I'm like, this is dumb. I hate this.
What? Wait, which The Prince of Egypt?
No. Exodus, Gods and Kings.
Yeah. No.
Prince of Egypt is a banger, dude.
It's so hard to beat. Steve Martin and Martin Short as Pharaoh's magicians. Like when are you ever going to get a better combination than that? Like, come on.
Exactly. Like that's just canonically what in my mind.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, they're the descendants of those magicians. So because of the Prince of Egypt, I think Exodus. Okay, so here's the thing. Exodus is where so Genesis purely narrative, right? You get all the stories. It's great. We got the creation story, et cetera, et cetera. Adam and Eve are in there somewhere, not a huge deal. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph. And then you get
Exodus.
the Exodus story, which is great, right? This awesome complex of
Yeah.
stories. Everybody knows the Exodus. And the second half of Exodus, nobody talks about.
No, except for the golden calf, and
Yeah.
it's
Well, like the whole Sinai situation, yeah. Like when it starts going to the legal material, like around chapter 25, I think it's kind of like that's the start of the legal corpus. Important stuff, but would I recommend it for most people to read? That's kind of the question.
I mean, I would still say yes, but that's
Well, fair
for
enough. I think
for
I'm cool leaving it in S tier. I think it deserves that spot.
granted, it's um the instructions for building the tabernacle are that's very dry. I mean, but at the same time, you now know how to build your very own tabernacle.
That's true. You know, I have my own
No one-
tabernacle in my backyard.
That's just when I go camping. I just bring my tabernacle.
Oh man, I got a rash. I got to sit outside the tabernacle.
Dang it!
Dang it, Bobby.
Or like you need to use the bathroom. You're just like, I gotta go 20 miles outside the camp.
You got to walk back to civilization. You do your business and then walk back to the tabernacle again the next day because you're ritually impure till the sun goes down or something.
Yeah, so it's like, so it's also a little hard to carry just by myself, but
I'd imagine
yeah,
all that purple and red.
I make do.
You're stronger than I am, Tommy. But this leads us, of course, to the best book of the Pentateuch, which is Leviticus. Now, I think Leviticus doesn't get a fair shake by most people. Like, do I recommend reading it for pleasure? Probably not. But that being said, like, once you understand how the sacrificial system works, which I'm not saying I do fully yet, but once you have an inclination of it, it's kind of like, okay, this is why people were doing this. And like technically, like it's a priestly handbook. Like it's technical knowledge. It's probably not going to help your spiritual life out that much, but it is important. What do you think?
Oh, so I actually think it's a little harder to make it apply. I don't know, more to the spiritual life. But I'm always reminded that it's crazy that the commandment to love your neighbor as yourself is smack in the middle.
That is a good point.
Like it is the center, and it's like,
is it?
Yeah, it's in Leviticus 18.
Dude, that's
it's pretty based. So
that's true.
Maybe A tier because
I feel like ordinarily it would be weighed to like C tier or something like that, but because of what we've said, I think it floats it to A tier. I think that's
I will make the case that Leviticus at minimum, like it needs to be at least A tier, and it's because it's like
because of that one verse.
Well, not just that, although that's incredibly important and I think theologically significant. That at the very center of the priestly handbook, that still also applies to everyone else.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so it's
kind of like, all right, you got to sacrifice the lambs this way. You got to build this way. You got to clean up this way. By the way, love your neighbor as yourself. And then when you cut the lamb's intestines, it's kind of like, well, whoa, where did that come from? Like that little gem is just kind of hidden in there.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, dang, it is. I mean, we'll get to Deuteronomy,
dude,
in one more book.
I think I'm cool with A tier.
Yeah, but I was gonna say it's like, dang, it's kind of like Leviticus and Deuteronomy sum up the Torah.
It's almost like they do. Yeah, we didn't need Genesis at all. Put Genesis in F tier. We have Leviticus. It's fine.
Yep,
it's where it belongs.
Yep.
We're getting in so much trouble for this. Okay, Numbers, or as I like to call it, the recycling bin of the Pentateuch. It just seems kind of haphazard sometimes. Like anything that didn't fit in the priestly material, the Exodus material, or Genesis, like, oh, chuck it in Numbers. It'll be fine. It's kind of like, what? Can we get some more consistency here, please? I don't know.
I mean, this is also a book of the Bible that not a lot of people will go and refer back to or read much.
That's true.
Even it's like they'll refer to the events a lot because this is just the Book of the Wandering.
Right.
Um,
Rebellion of
but
Korah. You've got the bronze serpent. You've
yeah,
got Balaam,
yeah, talking donkeys,
the best kind.
donkey.
I like them better than the screaming donkeys. Those ones annoy me.
Yeah. I do think it's underrated.
Also by me, apparently.
um, but also, I'm being honest. I don't remember the last time I read Numbers either, so I'm not. I'm not gonna say that I'm a dope numbers scholar. Maybe this is my chance to become one.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of opportunities for you to be like the Septuagint numbers scholar guy who, you have any
Just
questions
saying.
about passive participles in the Book of Numbers? Tommy's your guy. That's
Yeah,
the time.
exactly.
I would recommend B tier for numbers. I'm willing to change my mind, but you'll have to persuade me.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough because you got the bronze serpent, which is kind of
It's important.
It's important, especially in theological readings. But I don't know. I don't think I know enough to make a case for anything higher necessarily.
Yeah.
So I'm all right with numbers in B, and also for the viewers at home sitting around the radio.
I know you have us on your radio.
Oh yeah, like what do you do? Of course. How else would they listen? Even though this, we're gonna there's gonna be just a holy tier above S tier, and that's just the entirety of Scripture. So
No, this is objective. This is exactly how it is, and we have authority to do that because, again, we're terminally online.
okay, yeah. In the church of being terminally online, I was going to say 4chan, but I'm not going to associate myself with the pit of hell.
Don't say that word on the internet, Tommy. You'll get us in trouble.
Yeah. So basically, if we speak the online equivalent of ex cathedra, we're infallible.
So, we're going to hell for this, but okay.
No,
what's next?
We're not. It's all right because we're not Catholic, so they can't do any. They can't hurt us. It's
not
fine.
yet.
It's
Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is S tier. I think we can just put it there.
Yeah. It's so just.
It's a Torah within the Torah. It's just kind of like you take the whole Pentateuch and just kind of smack it down. It's like Deuteronomy.
If you don't have the Shema memorized, you clearly did not have a biblical Hebrew class.
Are you a Christian if you haven't memorized the Shema?
Yeah.
These are the questions Paul was dealing with in Galatians. We're digging them back up again. This is a problem. Oh no, Deuteronomy. It's kind of like even just doing research for the Pentateuch episode. The fact that Deuteronomy sort of seems to have had its own sort of developmental history parallel to the other books of the Bible. So it's kind of like you got Genesis, Exodus, and Leviticus and Numbers kind of doing their own thing over here. And then you got Deuteronomy doing its thing over here. And then they kind of get pieced together at some point. And it's also the bridge between the other books of the Pentateuch on one hand and the Deuteronomistic history on the other. And it's kind of the bind that ties those two major sections of Israel's history together. And I think it's super important.
Yeah, another thing that's also interesting, and I'd actually like to get your take on this because, spoiler alert, we're recording this before our Pentateuch primer.
We're not supposed to say that.
I like transparency.
I know. We'll let them know what we're doing. This is our show, dang. We can do whatever we want.
What's the... Never let them know your next move. Not even yourself.
Not even you. Trust no one. Not even you. It's okay. I already don't trust you, Tommy.
That's fair. So, what do you actually think of Wellhausen's claim that narratively it's better to talk about the Hextateuch rather than Pentateuch, and how that the story arc ends with entering the land? What do you think about that?
I think it makes a whole lot of sense because the way that the patriarchal cycles are arranged, the land comes up a lot. Like first chapter with Abraham, or first big chapter with Abraham, it's like, hey, so I got this land, right? And it's just kind of, and descendants going in there. I feel like this story has to continue through Joshua to a certain degree, at least. And so, there's different ways of negotiating that. So, like, one of the guys I was reading for research was Richard Elliott Friedman. Not to be confused with David Noel Friedman, who both have their middle name in their scholarly titles, and also the last name is Friedman, though spelled differently. So that was fun. They've also co-authored books and articles, so it's like, great. Anyways, Richard Elliott Friedman has a book that I haven't read yet called The Hidden Book in the Bible, where he argues that an early version, I think it's when J and E were put together, he argues that narrative ran all the way through 2nd Samuel and even through 2nd Kings, I think, where it's just a continue. So it's an Enneatuk, essentially, like 9 books worth of material spanning all the way. I don't think I buy it, but it's interesting because it's kind of like the story just kind of keeps going. I don't know. Like,
yeah, although I would say that, ultimately the Bible is a unified story. But
I mean, you can say that and still say it had sources, Tommy.
Well, yeah.
I think we'll agree on that, but it's just kind of like, how'd it get here? I want to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think at least a Hexateuch is necessary. I think a Septateuch, kind of expanding it to Judges, is a little bit presumptuous because Judges is very like, hey, things suck. So it's kind of like you can maybe see going into the time of David, but even that is a long cycle in and of itself. So I think ending it with Joshua, when it's kind of like, all right, the promises of the patriarchs are fulfilled, we're good to go. I feel like that's kind of an important stopping point. So I like that theory.
Yeah, I get it. It makes logical sense. I just like, maybe I like the division of the Pentateuch being the Pentateuch, and I'm like, no, we end it at, like, I like the because I guess when you think about Pentateuch stuff, and we won't drone on and on about this because that's what the primer.
I will.
No, that's what the primer is for.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying, kind of keeping the Pentateuch self-contained. I think that works better from a theological reading perspective because narratively, it's hard to separate Deuteronomy from Joshua and the Deuteronomistic history.
Yeah, because it's all the history story. But I think the lens for the story arc of the Pentateuch is through like a law or Torah lens.
Yeah.
So, am I going to elaborate on that right now? No. I still need to sit and think about it more, but
it's about Torah. Refuses to elaborate, leaves. The Tommy method.
Exactly.
Okay. Speaking of the Hexateuch, shall we talk about our friend Yehoshua?
Oh yeah, our friend Josh.
Josh is a great guy. I did a list like this with a buddy of mine like a year ago, and I put Joshua in F tier. I've changed my mind since, but what do you think?
Oh, did you put it to E?
E is for the Elohist source, Tommy. You know that.
Okay. I mean, I like the thing that I dislike about Joshua is having to read maps. Read map boundaries.
That's true. It's like we went from longitudinal coordinate here to latitudinal coordinate here. It's kind of like, why?
Except
why would you do this to me?
Your place names that show up only there, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, where is Gilgal? We don't know. That was a forward operating base in the, would that be 12th century BC? We don't know where it is.
Who knows? So, I mean, it's like the beginning of Joshua is good, and like the ending of Joshua is good, but then you're stuck reading tribal maps for the big middle section of it.
It's because it completes the story of the Pentateuch, Tommy. It's important, but no, I definitely it's one of the drier books, and if we're going to be consistent and put was it Leviticus? Yeah, we put Leviticus below S. I feel like we kind of have to do that with Joshua. That being said, I got to say, I wrote 4 or 5 articles as a contract writer for sort of Bible study material based on Joshua. And it's kind of like, how do you make Bible study material out of Joshua, right? But in the course of that research, I found like it's so cool that the conquest happened right at the Bronze Age collapse. So like
Mm.
the invasion of the Israelites into Canaan happened right as, so you have the Hittites and the Egyptians constantly wrestling for control over the area. The Canaanite city states were vassals of one or the other. They were infighting with each other. And from the Amarna archive, we have records of like kings reporting back to the Egyptian king, like, "Hey, this guy's not doing a very good job in this neighboring city. Can we do something about that?" And then all of a sudden, after the Battle of Kadesh, the Hittites and the Egyptians both get overwhelmed by the sea peoples, have to form a hasty agreement, retreat to their homelands. And so the Canaanites, who already weren't the biggest fans of each other, they have all of their imperial support withdrawn from two directions. They have the sea peoples invading, who became the Anakites and the Philistines. And then the Israelites show up. It's kind of like, that's kind of cool. I don't know. Like, of all the times this could have happened, it happened when that land was like, it was no man's land for a long time at this point. I think that's really cool. And
That is, and also, oh, sorry, dude.
no, that's basically it. You know, it's cool because of that. We could talk about the harem too, but I feel like we should save that for the Joshua episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the beginning of Joshua and the stuff. I also really like Joshua as like the second Moses kind of thing, and
Yeah,
it giving of the law basically, or like
yeah,
renewing the covenant. Like that's pretty
exactly.
great. So, are we
I feel like it's
are we
A
good?
tier.
Okay. I'm alright with A tier because there's also
Josh
classic
Fisher.
stories that everyone kind of remembers, like Jericho.
And what else?
Jericho.
Everybody remembers Jericho, and that's fine. But the crossing of the river is cool. They put up
Yeah.
some rocks.
Yep.
I like to put up rocks in weird patterns and leave them for people to wonder what these were. That's a good time.
Every time I leave with my tabernacle, I do that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Um.
Yeah.
So what's the ending of Joshua where he says you cannot serve the Lord?
Yeah,
So
I love that.
When I was in undergrad, I did a class on Joshua Judges Ruth,
Oh, nice.
and my prof, like, she made a comment. She's like, "See, not every like Bible verse can go on a mug," and I like had to. In that class, one of the things we did is we had to basically present kind of like a recap of what the last class was, and I got the one, or I signed up to do the one where we finished Joshua,
Yeah,
and I photoshopped. I'll probably edit it in what I Photoshop, but I got a mug and then I wrote like in kind of fancy like cursive font that you cannot serve the Lord.
it is not possible for you to serve the Lord.
And I told my prof, like, I disagree. This works very well on a mug.
I want a mug that says heavy suffixes force proprytonic syllable reduction, but I'm still working on getting that. Gonna send one to Dr. B too. I think that'd be hilarious. But yeah, but that was funny too. Don't get me wrong. I think it's conditional. It's not conditional. It's I have to look it up again. I want to say it's a Vav consecutive. Or no, not a Vav consecutive. It's an imperfect. So I think it's kind of more like you're not going to kind of idea, rather than like it is not physically possible for you to serve the Lord. Call me an Arminian, but I think it's kind of leaning in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
What comes after Judges? Judges is next.
Judges. That's a really good book. I mean, it's like
The connective tissue of the Deuteronomistic history.
Yeah, it's great because it's like, I mean, it's terrible. But
wow. Okay. Well, I told everybody that you hate the books of the Bible. It's great. You know, you can see.
not like it, like, you know, it's a hard book to read because it's just you read the downward spiral.
Yeah.
Of
It's almost like that in those days. Everyone did what their heart desired, and there was no king.
I know. It's like, bro, freaking cringe. Judges period. Not gonna lie, pretty cringe.
Not wrong.
Like, I mean, there was a few good ones.
Kind of. Yeah.
Shamgar, pretty based.
Deborah and Barak, pretty cool. Othniel, there's a name nobody knows. He was the first judge, kind of cool. Caleb's cousin, I think, younger brother, something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. He was very based.
Did I mention Shamgar already?
What did Shamgar do, Tommy?
He was the guy with the donkey bone, right?
Oh, was he? I thought that was
Uh,
Samson. Maybe it was
maybe
both of them. I mean, there's no monopoly on donkey bones, I would assume, but I wasn't there, so it's hard to say.
Shamgar, son of Anath, or Anat, depends on how you want to vocalize the tav.
No,
Um, is the name of one or possibly two individuals in the Book of Judges. Thanks, Wikipedia. Judges. Oh no, he's the guy with the ox goad.
are we
Judges.
Wikipediaing our Bible knowledge, Tommy? After all the suffering through grad school, we're Wikipediaing our Bible knowledge.
Couldn't really
Wow, this is a great start for the podcast. This is awesome.
It just goes to show that we're not above it.
You hear that, kids at home? Wikipedia knows everything.
I did not make that claim.
I did.
Well, it's a good thing that we only have master's degrees.
Again, terminally online, not terminal degrees.
Exactly.
It's also disappointing. Like, as a kid, you hear the stories of Samson, the stories of Gideon, and it's kind of like both of those guys were really bad people. Like the story of Gideon, he's got one good story, and that's like, all right, Priest of Baal time, which is a great name for a metal band, by the way. But it's kind of like that got very, very pagan very quickly. Which is kind of the point of Judges. That it's kind of like,
yeah,
we kind of need a king, and like it's funny because you have the two. Like, you've got the voice in these books that's kind of like, hey, a king isn't a great idea because they're going to cause trouble. And as we see in the Book of Kings, that does happen. But then there's the other one where it's kind of like Israel is just consistently incapable of leading itself. And when they have good kings, they typically do pretty good. So it's kind of like, is kingship a good idea? Yes, but the caveat never gets listened.
Go back to Deuteronomy. It's like, if you want to know how a king ought to be, go see Deuteronomy.
Yeah, exactly. And then Deuteronomy's like, look, it's not going to work out good for you anyways. And when Samuel's like, look, this is going to suck. And the people are like, no, we want a king. It's kind of like, I don't blame you, but still. Anyways, we'll talk about that in the Judges episode.
Yeah, Judges and Samuel. Because Samuel actually doesn't want a king because he's like, Yahweh's your king. And God's just like, no, they rejected me. They haven't rejected you.
Yeah. So where do we put it? It's hard to place.
S tier?
I'd say A tier, man. It's just below. Like the individual stories are really cool, but when you it's kind of a filler episode where it's just kind of like, this is what happens between Joshua and the kings.
I wouldn't call it filler, but I would call it the interlude. You know what I mean? Because filler means like you don't need it. Judges, I think you really need it.
Well, from purely chronological perspective, yeah, but it's kind of like it's a case study in why the kingship was necessary, kind of to kind of bridge that gap. I wouldn't put it any higher than A.
Okay, that's fair.
Should we do Ruth or Samuel next?
I was about to do Samuel by gut reaction, but I don't know which canonical order are we?
I was gonna say, do we want to go with the Jewish canon, the Christian canon, the Baba Bathra canon? I feel like we should save Ruth for after Proverbs because there's that kind of connection between the Eshut Chayil at the end of Proverbs and the beginning of Ruth.
Yeah.
So
where this is what biblical exegeting does to a lad.
To a lad.
To a chap, because I can't. We want to be a little more less coarse, so I won't do the typical internet saying.
We're not that terminally online, but do we get two Samuels or is it first and second Samuel? I can't quite see.
I
don't see another one there.
Okay, as it should be.
So it's first and second Samuel. Technically a single book, so that works.
I'm just putting it in S tier. Because it is such an S tier book, though.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it's cool, but okay, make your case for S tier.
Okay. I think it is probably one of the best written narratives in the Hebrew Bible. From a narratival standpoint, it is one of the best narratives. It's written beautifully. You have so much. The author does this really great. You have what's called a ring composition technique. It's the equivalent of like throwbacks. So like, you got the beginning where in Hannah's song, where at the very end she just casually drops Yahweh's king and Yahweh's anointed, and it's just like Hannah, why'd you drop that little bit? And then, and then you think Samuel, and then you have this kind of um, irony or like or unexpected fulfillment, like because the way Samuel is like growing up, you're thinking, oh, he's gonna be the next head priest. Never becomes a priest, but instead it's the prophet and the judge. And then you have Saul's arc. You have the David story, which is just
That's true.
yeah. So the whole thing of First and Second Samuel.
Yeah,
I
I
think
forgot we had
it is
second Samuel in there. Kind
yeah,
of like,
the,
yeah,
it is a narrative masterpiece.
it's.
So that's why I'm putting it. That's why I think it belongs in S tier.
I'm
because
going to
the
argue
character
for
they-
A tier in a much less clear cut way. So I'm probably going to fail. And technically, you're the one who has control over this, so you can just do whatever you want. But I will see if I can persuade you otherwise. The narrative of Samuel is also the least focused and most sort of disjointed, it seems, because it hops around a lot. It covers a lot of ground. Because in Samuel, you've got obviously starting with Elkanah and Hannah, and then it leads to Samuel and Eli. And then you've got that weird interlude where Samuel kind of doesn't show up, and it's kind of like Eli and his sons. And then it's about Samuel, and then it's about Saul, and then it's about this Dave guy. Probably not important. Don't listen to him. And then it's got like David in the wilderness, and then it's got David as king, and it's just kind of like it's more like an anthology in a linear order, which technically the Bible itself is, but it feels very disconnected as opposed to, the judges are all kind of disjointed stories, but you can kind of see where they're progressing towards. And never mind, it's kind of the same problem in Judges. I think
the problem is though I don't see it as disjointed for Samuel. I think it's a build on how they're telling the story. Like in where is my notebook that has my Samuel translation?
This is what happens when a narrative critic and a form critic get into a conversation about Samuel. It's also the most textually difficult book of the Old Testament, by the way. You look at textual variants in that sucker, holy snot. Like, children's not your friend.
Yeah, it's
a good time.
Don't get me started with how tall Goliath is.
How about this? I will let you have your S tier Samuel.
Okay.
But I get an override in the future of a single space. I'm not going to take something from F to S, but like if you say A and I want to kick it up to S, I get the right to do that.
Okay. Or the changing of a different book. How about that?
Yeah.
You don't have to just be going up. If you really feel like something other than Samuel should move down, we'll do that.
Okay, I'm just going to keep that in my back pocket. This is going to be fun. Yeah. All right, so we got Samuel. After Samuel, as we all know, is Chronicles. So I feel like we should probably give that some love.
Oh, wait, no, it's Kings.
I had you for a second. Kings is S tier, man.
I agree.
It's awesome. It's straightforward. You've got the whole Solomon thing. It's just kind of like, it's the rest of the story, right? It's like, it's in such detail to this point, and it's like, all right, we kind of we're running out of space on the scrolls. Like the library is not big enough, so we kind of got to get to the end. But like I love the fact that the author of Kings says, hey, if you want to read more about this, read the archives, read the chronicles of the kings of Israel and Judah, because that tells you that, like, look, if they were just writing this down for purely historical recollection, like that's not what this is, because there's documents for that. This is doing something different. And it's kind of taking the story of Israel to its not conclusion, but like assuming they're writing after the exile, it's kind of like, look, you're probably wondering how I got into this situation. Yeah, that's me. Was that?
Or in the exile. Either.
Yeah, like sometime, like Babylon is on the horizon, one way or the other. And Deuteronomistic history would suggest there was an edition before the exile, but like we're talking final compilation.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, how did we get here exactly? And it's super important
how we got here.
Exactly. So I think Kings is S tier purely for that. Even.
Oh yeah, no, Kings is. I agree. I have no qualms with that. Chronicles. I don't remember the last time I read Chronicles.
Should we do Chronicles and Ezra and Nehemiah together, or?
Ooh, does that come? Uh,
Chronologically, it's next. It's down the road a little ways.
I thought we were doing the Tanakh canon
That's
first.
true. That's true.
So, yeah. So Chronicles, I don't, I don't have a lot of strong feelings on Chronicles because I haven't read it a lot.
Yeah, most people don't. It's got important stuff going for it. It's kind of a rehash of Kings, but like, look, if they didn't contribute anything, they wouldn't have written it. It's important.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like it's there for a reason, and then the later communities, however Brevard Childs talks about the communities of reception of the sacred texts.
Yeah, it's
Like it's not. They wouldn't have it there if they didn't deem it important and
exactly.
basically inspired. However, the ancient Jews thought about that, but
In
like
some sense, it was
there's a
important.
yeah, they consider it sacred for a reason. And thus we
As
have
do I.
it. Yeah. So
There's also a banger of a line close to the end of Second Chronicles where it says like after the exile, it says the land was finally allowed its Sabbath rest, and it's kind of like
ooh, that's pretty based.
that just made Chronicles cooler. Like that line alone was pretty awesome. I'd say
Yeah.
I don't think S tier. I'd have to read it again.
Yeah.
But
With
I'd
the
say A or B, man. It's hard to maybe B.
it's yeah, B for now until we speak X
Ex
online
Cathedra.
X online cathedra again to change the ordering of our canon, but
Which we have the right to do.
well yeah, because we're the co-popes of
We're
online.
going to purgatory for that one.
And we'll
So Ezra Nehemiah next.
is that next in the
I mean, chronologically, then again, we threw that out the door with Ruth already.
yeah. So what's next? Is it Isaiah? Is Isaiah next? In the after Chronicles? Oh wait, no. Chronicles is in the Tanakh canon. Chronicles is at the very end.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, we're thinking we're going right to our good old Protestant canon. So
Are we experts?
are we experts? We're masters actually.
Oh, that's technically true. Yeah.
Yeah, which is cooler.
If we wanted to kind of revert, we could just do Ruth real quick, and then Ezra Nehemiah comes next, and just kind of roll from there.
I like that.
All right. So Ruth is next. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. Whoa, we're not going to talk about this? I'm not saying it's not S tier. I just feel like I'm a little bit. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's like I want to be included in the conversation. Is all.
I know. I'm being catty. Sorry.
Ruth is a fun book. It's a self-contained narrative, which is like after you get through these big epic, it's kind of like okay,
Yeah.
finally, like I can read this in a sitting. 4 chapters, easy to translate for Hebrew students, except for me, and I had a heck of a time with Ruth. I don't know why. But there's Moabites involved. That's kind of cool, you know.
It's theologically rich.
I guess you'd know more about that than I do. I don't need theology. I have science. Why don't you tell me more about that, Tommy?
Yeah. So, well, so something we alluded to earlier, is the Eshet Chayil.
Indeed.
And for listeners at home, that is what at the end of Proverbs, in Proverbs 31, is rendered woman of valor or women of strength.
Woman of virtue, I think, is kind of how most of them render that one. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's kind of lexically ambiguous.
Yeah, I think, but it's if you are, it's the same thing with like, because Boaz is called the male equivalent Ish Gibor.
Boaz the Based.
Boaz the that's our internet Gen Z translation.
Oh no, we've created a monster.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny.
A funny monster, to be fair. Yes.
Yeah,
You're right. It is, and like there's the connection too with Obed, Boaz and Ruth's son, being was it the grandfather of Jesse, who's David's father?
Father of Jesse.
Yeah.
grandfather David.
Yeah. So Boaz and Ruth are the great grandparents, if I recall correctly. I think there might be another generation in there, but I'm not sure. But yeah, that's important. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of a big deal, that David guy.
Yep. Little Dave, as they like to call him in the Veggie Tales version of David and Goliath.
That's a very nice way of putting it, saying that your brothers didn't care about you and your dad forgot about you. But little is fine.
Little Dave, that's what we call him, folks. I call him Little Dave.
Okay, we just went there.
I had to. I'm sorry.
I know you did.
And also it's just such, going to more of the theology bit. It's one of those great. It's one of the few but great examples of a book where it's about God working through the ordinary, through the kind
That's
of
true.
nobodies. Except that they're the nobodies, quote unquote, that are still called, Eshet Chayil Ishgibor. So they're like, they're the ones who know how to follow Torah. So
where are we putting it?
I still think it's an S tier story, but if you don't,
I feel like it's got to be A tier purely because if you remove it from the canon, you don't lose a whole lot. That's kind of the only thing. It's like, do you lose the whole David genealogy thing? Yeah, but like, did we need that? I mean, again, great book. I love it. It's just like, it's small and it doesn't contribute a whole lot. I'm gonna have similar feelings about Jonah as we get to it.
okay,
So I feel like A tier is a fair place for it.
okay.
That's not me using that special get out of jail free card. I'm saving that thing because I feel like we're gonna start getting some disagreements here.
Yeah, when you do that, you need to be like, I'm activating my trap card.
I will activate that card, although I won't do an anime reference. Okay, so now it's time for Ezra Nehemiah.
Yes, I do not remember the last time I read Ezra Nehemiah. So
S tier.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? Okay. It's like, I haven't read this book before. Oh, okay, S tier. Come on, Tommy, fight me a little bit. Come on. Put up your dukes.
Well, I'll have you explain first, but also I can move it around the board, so it doesn't matter.
That's true. You technically have ultimate control over everything. Tommy, Dingir Tommy, or Tommy Elohim, as we call him. Little Tommy Elohim, as he was called in grad school.
It's true. They made fun of me.
So Ezra Nehemiah is it's the narrative conclusion of the Old Testament. It's kind of like it's the last narrative documents. Was that?
Chronologically, yeah.
Chronologically, yeah. It's kind of like the story kind of ends there for about 500 years. And we have historical documents from the interim period, but it's kind of like it's also the establishment of the Second Temple, probably the establishment of the Torah as we know it, certainly as a normative document for most people to follow. Kind of important. Like that same scholar, David Noel Friedman, confidently asserted that Ezra was the one who put the pieces of the Torah together finally.
I feel like I've heard that before.
It's pretty popular. It's not specific just to him, but it's kind of like, and it makes sense, right? If he didn't put it together, he's probably the one who was kind of the big guy who's like, hey, this is what we're doing now. Kind of the regulation of Israelite religious life.
Especially Second Temple.
Yeah. I mean, they started the Second Temple period.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that warrants
I've read Ezra Nehemiah. It's just been forever since I've.
It's not something that most people rush to, and there's not a whole lot of scholarship that I've seen compared to the prophets or the Pentateuch. Right? It's kind of like it tends to get forgotten about comparatively. Again, there's specialists, but it's kind of like
but
no one's itching to work on it.
It's like, guys, do we really need another Isaiah scholar?
Apparently we do, because we still haven't figured it out yet. So we're still working on it. I say having never read an Isaiah commentary.
I've read probably parts of one, but I just want to. I still need to buy Brevard Childs because I'm biased and I like Brevard Childs.
Okay, all right. You can be wrong all by yourself, Tommy. After Ezra Nehemiah. It's the wisdom literature next, right? Because we reverted to the Protestant canon.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Proverbs.
Isn't it Esther? While Tommy's gone, I feel like it's a good time to talk about our sponsors. Nobody, because nobody's seen this video yet. And oh, Tommy, you're back. Hey, yeah. All right, just
Our sponsors, NordVPN.
Raid Shadow Legends. Have you wanted to fight your very own Goliath? Well, boy, do we have the sponsorship for you. Not sponsored, by the way. Not yet.
All right, so real talk. If we got sponsored by, if Raid Shadow Legends wanted to sponsor us, would we take it?
I was going to ask you the same thing. I feel like we should have a very long conversation about that. But everything is for sale, including my soul. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so according to the Protestant canon, I'm looking at the ordering.
Martin Luther was always right, so we have to go with this.
It's true. So we don't need the Book of James
or Revelation.
Yeah. Job is first.
Job. Job's in the easy S tier, man.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of hard not to put Job anywhere but S tier. It's only like if you're depressed and you read it, maybe not S tier, but like any other situation, you're gonna wind up with Job and S tier.
Yeah, it's basically the ancient Israelite version of like
life sucks. Why?
Well, yeah. The question it's asking, but I feel like the way it's composed kind of reminds me of I might be thinking of Plato's Symposium.
Like different speeches on the same topic by different people, kind of.
Yeah, I also might be completely full of it.
No, you're right though. You're right because it's kind of like, from what I understand, I've only kind of started tapping into it recently. It's kind of like Job's three friends represent three different positions that the ancients had on why bad things happen to good people. So one of them is kind of like, well, clearly, you must have done something wrong, and that's why. So do something to fix that, and you're fine. And Job's like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. And the other one's kind of like, well,
you're lying. So actually,
yeah, exactly.
Because clearly you did, because everything sucks for you.
It's a critique of sort of the common wisdom of the day, the optimistic wisdom, where it's kind of like, look, do good things will happen to you. If something bad's happened to you, it must be from a bad thing. And I think it's important because there's a lot of that today still. Like that hasn't gone away. A lot of people still believe that. And it's like, and I get why, like it makes sense. But Job is kind of like, look, he didn't do anything wrong. And bad thing, like sometimes crap happens. Like that's another question you have to wrestle with, but it's an affirmation of it.
Yeah, and I think the Hebrew Bible, it's just absolute brilliance. It looks at real life, and things that the ancients knew was like it's never changed in the history of humanity. Is that sometimes crap hits the fan, life happens, and it sucks, and you don't know why.
Exactly.
And even then, like the ending of Job, is just like. It just shifts everything in perspective. I remember hearing Walton talk about it one time. I forget what it might have been in Ancient News Backgrounds, where he said he's like, yeah, the ending. He's just like, what Job is questioning is God's like ability to control the universe, and God's just like, Job, were you there? He's like, no. He's like,
picture didn't happen, Job.
Pixar didn't happen.
Also, did you pronounce his name Job a second ago? That was a very brave, like Job. I don't know why I found that so funny, but that was hilarious.
Yes, Job.
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 Okay, Lewis. It's a great book. It's hard to understand, and like, there's a reason most people read the prologue. They read like the first 2 or 3 chapters, and then they skip to Job 38. Right? It's kind of the revelation of God, because the interim material is very dense, and it's some of the hardest Hebrew out there, from what I understand. I actually read an article the other day arguing that the core of Job is actually an Edomite composition, so not even Hebrew, and that explains why it's so hard to explain.
I also think the fact that it's poetry. So poetry in any language is going to be difficult.
It's going to be tough, yeah. But we have translations for it, so hopefully your NIV isn't as impenetrable as the Hebrew text is. But it's long and dense. But it's kind of, if you go into it kind of with an understanding of what's going on there, that text becomes a lot richer too. I hadn't read the core of Job for probably 10 years. And I did the other day after having been introduced to some of the concepts by a commentary. And it's like, okay, this is fantastic. Like, this is exactly, it all makes sense in that case. So yeah,
Yeah.
S tier for Job all the way.
Oh, what? Oh, yeah. Okay. Next in the Protestant is the Psalms.
The Psalms, F tier. Don't like them.
Oh, dang.
Moving on.
Oof.
Nah.
No, bro. Psalms are kind of S tier. What are,
S tier by technicality. I mean, they're like the problem is there's 150 of them, like Psalm 22, Psalm 110, Psalm 2, Psalm 1. Super important. Psalm 119, long, right?
I like how I just love the statement S tier by technicality.
Yeah, it's like there's so much content that of course some of it's going to be S tier. I just I can't describe. I'm just not a music guy. I'm not a psalm guy. Not a poetry guy. I guess.
Okay.
They've never appealed to me. I've never tried to read through them because every time I attempt it, it's kind of like, okay, on to the other 149 of them. But I can't deny their importance either.
Yeah.
So I can stomach an S tier, but
Okay.
yeah. But explain to me why you think they belong in S tier.
Oh man, it's like, well, yeah. One, it's just the vast amounts of poetry, and it's the highly emotive language. Not that highly emotive language isn't elsewhere in the Hebrew Bible.
Emotions cringe, Tommy.
You're right. We should all be Stoics.
We should.
Paul and Stoicism. Let's go. We have a friend who's writing a dissertation about that, more or less.
Do we?
Yeah, Samuel.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that was a top. I mean, it makes sense in hindsight now. I forgot. Yeah, our friend at Cambridge. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
We should have him on to talk about that. But go on.
Yeah.
We're a long way from Paul, brother.
We are, and maybe by the time we get to that, we might know a little bit more about Paul.
Maybe by the time we get to that episode, we'll have a name for our podcast. Maybe that's asking a lot. I don't know.
Ooh, podcast name. We could just be the Unnamed Podcast.
That would be great. Yeah, nobody would know what we're talking about.
Unnamed Bible Podcast.
The Enuma Elish podcast.
That's just false advertising.
It is. But
unless we're the ones on high, speaking ex cathedra from the internet.
We'll talk.
But yeah, Psalm. It's some of the greatest poetry. It was also, it was only the prayer book for the Jews and the early Christians.
Yeah.
I
guess that's kind of important, isn't it?
Important. Yeah, and there's the beauty of Psalm 23. Okay.
Moving on from the Psalms.
Oh, Proverbs.
Duh.
Yep.
Easy S tier.
Oh yeah, easy S tier.
Easy S tier.
And just so. Oh wait, did you do Proverbs with Schultz?
I did not do Proverbs, but I've been digging into it a lot recently because I'm writing a research paper, working on it, and it's. Proverbs is so cool. And the thing about Proverbs. What's that?
My question for you is: do you think there's ordering principles in the Proverbs?
What do you mean by that?
That and especially when it's like to the actual proverb, like so, Proverbs 9, I think. Do you think that they're just random sayings collected, or do you think that there actually is an order to them?
I have no idea. That's not a question I've ever asked, and I probably won't ask it. But it is.
Dr. Schultz was very much like, there are ordering principles. Let me tell you my case.
Shocker. The reason that people sleep on Proverbs is because we think like, oh, it's a collection of cool sayings on how to live a good life. How boring, right? But it's like when you actually dig into what the wisdom tradition of Israel was, and I think we're going to get into that a little bit with our legal section of the Pentateuch material, because the distinction between law and wisdom was pretty thin in antiquity. When you start seeing Proverbs as, or not even Proverbs, like wisdom in Israel as sort of like look, God established a way for the natural world to function. What is the way that human society is supposed to function within that broader sphere of creation? Once you realize that's what wisdom is, it's like, holy cow, that's really cool. It's kind of like, and that's what wisdom is trying to get at. And a lot of times it's not like you must do this and you must do this. It's like the Proverbs are instruction and they're meditations and like with the different Proverbs saying collections too, because Proverbs like 1 through 9 is one sort of broader collection. And then you have the sayings of Solomon. You have the sayings of Solomon by Hezekiah's men. That there's something about that it's kind of difficult. The sayings of Agur, the sayings of Lemuel, and between these different sayings collections, was that?
And I think it's specifically Lemuel's mom.
Cue the jokes. Yes, but the cool thing about those, like between some of them, there's sort of they crop up these sort of subtle philosophical differences in looking at wisdom, because there's like you can slice it a couple different ways, but the big one is optimistic versus pessimistic wisdom. Optimistic wisdom is kind of like you can become wise, you can know what wisdom is, and you can live according to it. Which is kind of the first 9 chapters of Proverbs. Like, look, if you want to be wise, do X, Y, and Z, and hopefully good things will happen as a result. Then there's pessimistic wisdom, which is like the sayings of Agur and parts of Job, where it's kind of like wisdom is so far beyond humankind that like we really can't attain it. The best we can do is have an attitude that fears the Lord, and kind of like, look, would God approve of this? That's kind of the only thing that we can really do. And it's kind of it's a beautiful tension. It's kind of like a thread being held between the optimistic and the pessimistic traditions. And that's where the Proverbs fall. And it's because of that, it's not a contradiction in the sense that like, oh, the Bible says do this and not do this. It's a contradiction in the sense that like, this is clearly designed to make you think rather than to tell you what to think.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of richness in that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You can tell I've read a book or two on this.
Oh, yeah.
It's very fun.
Bruce Waltke's commentary.
I haven't read that one yet, I don't think. That's the Word Biblical Commentary, right? Maybe it's not. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I start with Hermania, as with all things. That was Shipper was the name. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for most people. But Proverbs is it.
Yeah, Hermania is not a... It's not a user... Maybe not user-friendly.
It's not user-friendly at all. It's very technical. Like, that's a tough one to crack.
Yeah, it's like you need to know, insider.
If you didn't know what textual criticism was before this video, I wouldn't recommend Hermania.
Yeah, it's definitely for those in the industry. So
we should do a commentary tier list, series tier list. That would be funny. We can just do these in between episodes. It'd be fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.